Everything you need is already inside of you. The world would not be what it is without you. When we begin to create change within us, we begin to create change in the world around us. Your journey to becoming your best self as the whole person starts right now.
Hi, friends. This is Lauren Sweeney. I'm the host of the Become Your Best podcast and webinar series. I'm so excited that you've joined us today. We have a very special guest. Sofia Dedola is an entrepreneur that has taken a product, an in-person brick and mortar type business, and moved it to one that was more service-based. Especially during COVID, she has had a thriving business, now one that gives back to others. I'm so excited to welcome to our podcast, Sofia Dedola. Welcome to our stage.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Excited to be here with you. So tell me a little bit about your journey, you as an entrepreneur, because you have pivoted and made some amazing things happen, and perfect timing with COVID and all the things.
Yeah, I know. So I started my catering company, All of the Nectar, the end of 2017 while I had a full-time job. And so that was just kind of like a little passion project to do on the weekends. And then when someone told me that I could get paid to do it, I was like, really? And so I kind of went for it. And then after putting photos out there on social media and creating the website and then calling out sick a couple times at my job, it became like probably after, I think it was about 16 months, I was able to go full time and pursue it. And then that was probably 2018, the end of 2018, 19, early 19. And then I was getting direct messages on Instagram and people were asking me like, oh, what do you set up your grazing tables on? And this is basically, if you don't know what a grazing table is, it's like these charcuterie boards times 10 on a table, and you just take those boards and just add so much more fruit and veggies and the whole thing. And people were asking me because in Los Angeles is when I launched the business. It was in Los Angeles, and I was probably one out of, I think, 5, honestly. Like there wasn't a lot of people doing it. Now, so many people are doing it, which is great, equals more demand. But anyway, people would direct message me and I would get really insecure because they would say, how did you do this board? What are you setting up on these tables? How did you get this client? And honestly, like I blocked someone the first time because I was like, no, you can't copy my business. No, you can't do this either. No, there can only be me. And it was like this totally scarcity mindset. And it was like this tightening and it didn't feel good. And then I don't know how I got to the point where I thought I should do a training because, virtual cheeseboard classes, that was kind of a thing. This was before COVID hit. I thought of doing an in-person training. And then I got the idea for an online course for the Graze Academy. Amy Porterfield, I got so inspired by her. We've talked about her
before. I remember you went to San Diego, you went to her conference. Yes.
I was so inspired by her because she teaches people how to, take a passion and turn it into a digital product or, an online course. And so once I did that, there was so much learning in creating the course itself because I created the Graze Academy and my price point was really high. And then I was like, okay, well, I was still doing All of the Nectar. And I was like, okay, I don't know how well this is going to go. We'll see. I sold about 10 and then it just kind of died down. And then COVID hits and it was just like, all of a sudden my YouTube channel was blowing up. All my videos were getting a ton of views, subscribers, followers, people asking me questions. And then I changed the price and I'm like, let me bring this price down because there's all these inquiries. And sidebar, I didn't have, you couldn't pay on my website. So if someone went to my website and they wanted to buy, they couldn't. I didn't have that
capability.
Yeah, so they had to direct message me. And then that's just like a bunch of work. You don't want to make people work hard to get your product. You want it to be super easy and seamless for them to just click. And so once I put that capability, I put that on the website, people now click, click, click. And I was able to sell a bunch of courses during COVID and still now, and then put so much more energy into the Graze Academy. And then I probably left out a part where I didn't need to do all of the Nectar anymore because of COVID. I did pivot and make my service-based business. I did do crates. So that was like non-perishable. So I could get those into people's hands. But then all these people were asking me how they could start their own business. And surprisingly, like during COVID, everyone's like, you're going to start a grazing table business during COVID, or you're going to do this. And people did, and they made money, and they're doing it now. And everyone's got to eat. So that's just kind of how it all happened. And now there's so many of us doing it, which is great.
It's amazing. You're very creative online as well. I follow you at the Graze Academy. We'll post your links later. You're really creative with your reels and how you manage social media. Do you want to talk a little bit about that as well? And I have been many times privileged to be able to eat your food. And when you were doing in person, it was amazing. And George and I love like grazing tables. And there's just something so fun about being able to pick out different cheeses, different crackers, different nuts and fruits. So great. Talk to me about social media and how you've heightened or upped your game in being able to use it.
Yeah. So social media has been like such a blessing for my business. A couple of things. One, batch planning my content, whether that's just your grid post or your reels or your Instagram stories, helps so much, because if you've got a full-time job, you've got kids, or you're in school and you can't just post Instagram every day, it helps to batch. And then I told my husband the other day, like, if I don't batch, because there's some weeks where I don't, I'm super busy, I'm in transition, and then it'll be a quiet week. I'll have no sales. And then the minute I post a reel, I get a sale. And it's like, and then sometimes people will comment on the reel saying, I just signed up. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy, because first it wasn't Instagram. I'd say Instagram and YouTube have kind of ping ponged each other. So people Google, they'll be like, how to start a charcuterie business, how to start a grazing table business, and my YouTube will pop up. So that's called SEO, search engine optimization. And so people who Google go to YouTube, and then my YouTube draws them to my Instagram, and then they see my reels. And so the fact that I'm consistent, I think that would be my feedback to people, is to stay consistent with whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to sell, because people are watching. I just had someone direct message me yesterday, and they said, I just signed up for the course with the Mother's Day special, and I've been waiting for 3 months. I'm so excited. And that just tells me, like, there's people always watching. I'm watching a handbag, or I'm watching a whatever. I'm keeping my eye on things, but sometimes you don't take that leap until you're absolutely ready. And I think that's why staying consistent and keep giving to your audience they'll definitely convert eventually.
That's so great. How do you come up with ideas? So if you're not familiar with batching, I love to batch as well, and tell our clients, make them all at once, get cute, and just have different shirts and make them at one time, right? So make 5, 6 ones. If you're listening, you don't really know what a reel is. It's 30 seconds or less of a video, and you're using Instagram to make it. And so you can make your videos ahead of time, and then you can just go into Instagram. You can put music to them. You can make them funny. You're really good at doing that, Sofia. How do you come up with what ideas? What if somebody says, well, I own my own business. I know I should be on Instagram more. I know doing reels, because I know that that's a fact as well, that Instagram is promoting reels right now, and they're getting more traction and more visibility. So we tell our clients that as well. But how do you come up with the ideas? Where would somebody start? Should they look at other reels, or how do you get creative?
Well, I get a lot of inspiration from so for music, usually on your reel, you're going to want some sort of lip syncing audio or music. And if something is trending, I think that's what boosts the analytics with Instagram. They're always changing. So whatever I say today won't be the same tomorrow. But if you're doing a song that's trendy, like Cardi B was popular for a second, and then all these other songs. So if you do an audio with that, that will help boost your post on the reel feed. But in terms of creativity, I would say, like, for what I do is if I have a YouTube video that I just posted yesterday, 7 tips for doing picnics and adding that service to your business. Um, I would take those little 7 tips that I said in that 10-minute video on YouTube, condense it down to 30 seconds. And I haven't made this one yet, so here's a little preview. I would do a song and then hit the beat. And then with the font, I could say tip 1, and then just do fun things and then kind of dance with it. Maybe you're lip syncing the words. And then if you're batching, like you just mentioned, I like to batch. Sometimes I wear the same shirt or the same dress, and I'll just switch it out 3 times. So then it's like, okay, if I'm in this shirt, I'll wear it twice, but then I'll switch into a dress and then post this one today, dress tomorrow, this one the next day. And then it's not so like, oh, is she in the same shirt every time? So I just mix it up because there's enough reels in my saved.
How do you keep track of them? Like when you posted them, do you make yourself a calendar? Is it fancy, or do you just handwrite it on paper?
No, you do not want to see my calendar. We have to talk. I am not great at calendars. I have a huge desktop one over there, and then I'm just getting on Google Calendar. What I do is I'll just make a bunch, and then I save them to the draft folder on Instagram. And then when I'm ready, like every day, ideally, if I could post every day a reel, I try to. Sometimes it's every other day, but I just go and I choose which one I'm in the mood for. So it's kind of random. Like if I film in the daytime and then I want to post at night, I'll try to pick the one that has that darker mood to it. So it looks more on brand of the time, really, of like, oh, it's nighttime. This is really happening. Even though my audience knows I batch, I still want to feel relevant to the moment that it's being posted at.
Absolutely. That makes sense. What do you think is your favorite thing about having this business, becoming an entrepreneur, and now pivoting and having like virtually an online virtual business?
I love it. I loved making grazing tables, and I still, will do it for fun once I'm in my house. But like, this is so much more pleasurable because I get to work with people more one-on-one. The grazing table, doing Olive and Nectar, that was meditative, and that was really like my creative outlet. But then to be able to take that and teach people something that I learned so much about, I made so many mistakes, and I can give to someone, I feel like I found my niche and that I can give to someone else. And so coaching and doing the courses and being creative, like I just feel like I've won the lottery by being able to do this.
So great. I bet it's so fun. I feel that way too. Pretty much coaching and training and talking to people and having that dialogue. So you're not just talking to you and the food. I mean, I'm sure with Olive and Nectar, when you served the food, there was like, oh, this looks so beautiful. And you had that dialogue. But while you're making it, you're virtually by yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a good point, because that satisfaction I got for every table was literally 2 hours after I'm all done. Say most tables take an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then when I say I set it up for you, the person is like, oh my gosh, I love it. It's beautiful. I feel so good. I go home and I feel great. And then we wait for the next one, and the invoicing and all of that, that's fun too. But this side is like, the fun is so much longer, and I'm giving to people. Well, the other's giving too, but they're just, I can't compare them, but I love what I do now.
When you were first building your online course for the Graze Academy, were you nervous? Like, oh, will this work? And I remember you and I going to lunch and talking about it. And, how much money do I put into making the course? This is way harder than most people think. And now, of course, it's successful. But talk to me about that time when you were like just creating it. Is it going to work?
Okay, I was really excited. And I think what happens when I get excited, I don't like no's. Like I don't take a no. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, because like I said, my price was way too high for this type of course. But in the moment I was like, nope, this person charges this much and they charge that much. Why not me too? And so I did recently, like I had my price, I fixed the price. So it was $99 when I when COVID hit, I had this $99 rate and the value was $249. It was listed on the website. And so I was like, I need to take that leap and go back to my $249. But mind you, Lauren, this is when I was already like 10 courses a week, and then some days 10 courses a day. And it was just like bam, 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 just passively happening. I'm getting an email saying, oh, you sold a course. And then I was like, oh, but if I raise the price, like I'm going to lose that speed maybe. So I did get a little like, oh no, what happens if I do that? But I knew it was a risk I needed to do because that $99 rate has been up for a long time. I knew I could add more value to the course itself. So I put in some free things like Grazeology 101 and mastermind recordings to really beef it up. But once I took that leap, all those fears disappeared because it wasn't the same amount of bam, 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 bam sale, but it didn't have to be because those people who invested, it's like, that was like 2.5 sales for me that I was used to getting a day. So it's like, oh, I just need one person to fill what I was having prior to that. So I don't know if I answered your question about the early stage. The early stage, I was just so excited and didn't let no get in the way. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. There is an interesting thing about price and the value that people put on because you want to make sure they complete the course. You want to make sure they get value out of it. And I found actually when we charge more, they value it more and they like take it seriously.
Yeah. And I got really nervous too because I was doing my course. So, like you said, I got it professionally filmed, had a photographer. I rented a house off of peerspace.com. It's like Airbnb for rental properties. And then I had Kajabi, which is the platform to put my course on. So I spent a lot of money on this out of pocket, just hoping someone's going to want this. And it was a big risk. But I think I got scared because I think 2 months into it, when I saw there wasn't much traction happening on the Kajabi, I pulled back. I canceled my Kajabi. I was like, wow, I have this course. I considered putting my course on, what are those platforms? Skillshare and some other one. And they take a large cut. And I was like, no, like I was considering giving up a little bit of like, what can I do with my course? Should I just put it for free on YouTube? And so I just sat on it. I didn't do anything with it. There was a couple dead months that were really quiet. And then like I said, COVID happened and I redid the website. I know Wix really well. So I was like, let's see if I could do it on YouTube. So I put my course on YouTube privately for members only. I have a little thing with that. And it just worked out.
Wow. So great. It's really cool that you created something and now you love it and it's thriving. It's perfect timing. You would think food during COVID and something where people put their hands in it, but people do love to gather even if it's in small groups. I know because I follow all your platforms that people would make like little boxes that they could drop off because people weren't going out to eat or so many people were furloughed or let go, and so they wanted to like take that passion project or that hobby or that idea and actually turn it into something. And now you're there supporting people in all over the world, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All over. I have a couple people in India, Australia, a lot of people in Canada and Texas is probably the most popular. We have people in
Yeah.
Colorado, all over.
So great. Well,
Yeah.
where can we find you? I know you have a website.
Yes. thegrazeacademy.com. And then you can find me on Instagram. It's the Graze Academy.
Awesome. I know you have a lot of freebies there. You can watch her creativity with her reels. I'm not kidding. She does an awesome job. So I'm like, oh, mine are not funny. My reels are just like content based. I could step it up, but I'll work on that.
They don't always have to be funny. As long as the reels are informative, I think you'll be good to go. And I have a bunch of free resources on my YouTube channel. If you just type in Sofia Dedola or the Graze Academy or something like that, it'll just pop up and there's so many videos on there.
I love that. Adding value first. We believe in that as well. Well, we love to ask all of our guests on our show a final question, and that is, what does Rise Up for you mean to you?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say rise up for you means putting my mental health first I can see how this industry, especially with social media and comparing and all of that, it can really get in the way. And I think putting my mental health first with meditation and pausing if I'm feeling stressed out or overwhelmed, like that's why that batching the content comes in handy, because I can take a day for myself. And I know that, okay, I come first and then this business comes second. Like it's not like, oh, put everyone else's needs before mine. It's like, okay, I need a break. I can't get to everybody right now, and that's okay. Let me take some time for me. So I rise up for myself every single day and put myself first, and then that way other people, I can show up for them.
Oh, I love that. So
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, thank you for being on our show today. We loved having you.
Of course. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Absolutely. Oh,
Bye.
wasn't she great? So fun and so courageous to take this business and then now be able to help people all over the world. I feel the same way. I'm so grateful about the work that we get to do at Rise Up For You. If you are listening or you're watching us live on our Facebook channel and you're thinking, I really want to do something for myself right now, well, you can download your free Become Your Best Self kit. All you have to do is go to riseupforyou.com/success kit, and you can download your free success kit right there. The other really cool thing that you can do is you can talk with myself or one of our coaches. All you need to do to schedule your free strategy call to talk about your business, confidence, or leadership is text the word connect. Text the word connect to 949-416-0671. Thank you so much for listening today to the Become Your Best podcast and webinar series. I'm Lauren Sweeney, your host, and we'll see you soon.